Okay, we'll get started. So let's find our most comfortable seated position, whether that is sitting on a block or a leg maybe extended out, sitting crisscross applesauce, or maybe bringing your heel into your groin. For those of you that can bring your other heel into the groin, that's full lotus, go for it. I'm not there. So there's always something to strive for, right? And we're going to find the balance on the sit bones. And then we're going to pretend we're up against an imaginary wall. Have the back of your head, both shoulders, bottom rib, both cheeks all lined up against that imaginary wall as best you can. Let's take a big inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose, and with this exhale, think of fogging up a window. Love it. One more time. Inhale through the nose, and with this exhale, let go of any stress you're dealing with. And now close the mouth. Inhale through the nose, and then exhale through the nose. Inhale through the nose, fill those lungs. Try to find a little pause at the top of that breath. And then slow down the breath once again through the nose, trying to find the emptiness of those lungs. Inhale through the nose, fill those lungs, little pause. Slowing down the exhale, trying to find the emptiness. Don't go to the point where you're gasping for air. Just immediately find that next inhalation so that you find your perfect rhythm and flow of breath. That's perfect for you today. With that next inhale, think of reaching through the crown of the head and lengthening the spine. And on the exhale, think of broad collarbones, shoulders rolling down the back. Inhale, see if you can feel that rib cage expand wide, east and west. And exhale, funnel the waist and press your sit bones down into your mat and in towards each other. That activates your pelvic floor, by the way. Inhale, reaching through the crown of the head and lengthen. Exhale, opening at the chest, rolling the shoulders down the back. And inhale, rib cage expands. And exhale, funnel that waist. And sit bones down and in. And hopefully you have found your rhythm of breath. You have found your spinal alignment. We're going to strive to keep both of these throughout the practice. Use the breath in every pose as a guide, as a barometer. Never force into a pose where the breath gets choppy or hindered. And just take notice of how the benefits of this breathing. This lowers your heart rate, your blood pressure, your cortisol levels. And it also oxygenates your blood. So you have more oxygen readily available to transport your nutrients, antibodies, and flush out toxins. So it helps nourish, cleanse, and heal the body on that microscopic level. Let's do the same thing with our thoughts, cleansing our thoughts, welcoming positive, pushing away negative. So perhaps welcoming happy memories over the last few days. Let it drift in and out of your consciousness. Push away any worries, any concerns. Perhaps being grateful for living in this beautiful state of Colorado with our gorgeous mountains. Push away any list in your head. You don't need that right now. And I always like to start the practice by bringing to mind at least one person that I'm grateful to have in my life, maybe dedicating this practice to that person, and push away any thought of competition. Yoga is not about competition. And imagine as if the ventilation system in this room sucks up any negative energy, carries it out of the room, leaving us with an open, peaceful, grateful heart. So let's go ahead and uncross the legs, cross the other way, or if you have a leg extended, extend that other leg out. And then inhale, reaching through the crown of the head, lengthen that spine. And on the exhale, rotate your chin towards your right shoulder as far as you can. And then inhale, bring it center. And exhale, rotate to the left. Try to open that neck up. Inhale, bring it center. And exhale, rotate. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate. One more time. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate. Find your full rotation of your neck to the right. Your cervical vertebrae are designed to do this. See where the muscles will allow them to go. And then think of softening the tissue in the neck and throat, shoulder and scalp. And then with your next exhale, just gently tuck that chin. And inhale, bring it back to that neutral starting position. Do that a couple more times. Exhale, gently tuck. Inhale, lift. Feel how that aids in opening up the base of the skull area. More stretch there. And then inhale, bring it center. And exhale, find your full rotation to the left. First, hold this rotation, this opening. We try to open up all our joints at the beginning of practice. Let's tuck that chin. And inhale, left. Exhale, tuck. And inhale, left. One more time. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, left. Bring it center, like you're pouring water out of the top of the head. Ear goes to shoulder. Inhale, bring it center. Exhale, bring the other ear to shoulder. Inhale, center. So be mindful that you're not shrugging the shoulder up. Reach to the crown. Inhale, left. Exhale, lower. Lateral flexion of the neck. Once again, cervical vertebra designed to do this. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold. And let's hold that pose. And let's reach away with the opposite hand. So I'm having right ear to right shoulder, I'm reaching away with the left fingertips. If it feels okay, right hand on the left temple area. So I don't press down, but I do think of letting that arm go heavy, a little gentler opening, kind of a yin yang thing going on, right? One arm's reaching, one arm's being heavy. And if it's too intense, remove that top hand. Inhale, bring it center, releasing those arms. Exhale, lower left ear to left shoulder. Reach away with the right fingertips and place the left hand on right temple area. Then think of just letting it go heavy. And breathe. Let's release. Let's open up the chest. Fingertips are going to go to the wall behind you. Think broad collarbones. Maybe the gaze goes up. And then tuck your chin, round your spine. Reach for opposite knees with your hands. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, tuck your chin, round your spine. Reach for opposite knees with those hands. Let's do it one more time. Lift and open. Exhale, tuck the chin around your spine. Reach for those opposite knees. And let's just hold this right here. So it doesn't seem like much, but think about reaching as far as you can for the opposite knee. Make sure your chin is tucked. The crown of your head is facing the mat. And then using your breath, Try to move the rib cage between your shoulder blades towards the ceiling. So that's a little mini cat pose. Feel that added opening in the upper back and shoulders. Just by bringing that awareness, that breathing to that area. And then let's release the hands. Open up. If it feels okay to add neck extension, you can, but you know what? You don't have to. You can just keep that head in line. It's fine. Do what feels right. Get rid of any roundness, right? Open. All the roundness out of those shoulders. We're over our phones and tablets, computers. Find that opening. And now with your breath, think of trying to move the chest bone, the sternum, towards the ceiling. Feel that added opening for that chest cavity. Now let's release. And we're going to come into our spinal twist. So I'm going to face the same direction as you. Bring these guys with me. Oops. So left hand to right knee, right arm behind. Inhale, spine long. Exhale, find the rotation. Abdomen, ribs, chest, clavicle. Head is the last to turn. Shoulders are down the back. Now, how does it feel to add a little gentle pressure against that right knee? If that feels good, keep it. If it hinders the breath, back out. Inhale, bring it center. Right hand to left knee, left arm behind. Inhale, spine long. Exhale, find your rotation. Abdomen, ribs, chest, clavicle. Head is the last to turn. First check in, the shoulders are down the back. And then maybe it feels good to add a little gentle pressure against that left knee. Maybe not. Gently release. Let's come up to all fours. So if you have knee issues, you'd like to create a little more cushion for your knees, all you have to do is a double fold of your mat, okay? You can have your knees on that double fold. Hands are in line with shoulders, knees in line with hips. It's another spinal opening. It's cat-cow. So we're gonna start with our gaze forward. There's the inhale. And then on the exhale, tuck that tailbone and round your spine. And then inhale, reaching through the crown of the head, shine that heart forward. So exhale, cat pose is spinal flexion. Inhale, cow pose is spinal extension. So we're thinking of lifting the upper back in cat. And we're moving through the full range of motion of the spine, finding cow, opening up the heart. Notice in cat, the sit bones face the mat. And in cow, the sit bones face the back wall. So it's a nice pelvic rock as well. Exhale, cat. We'll do one more full round of breath. Inhale. And exhale. And then lift the left arm, rotate the wrist a few times in one direction and a few times in the other. And then go ahead and needle it through. I'm going to bring my left ear on the mat and my right arm, maybe you'd like to keep it down the mat, reaching towards the mirror. That's option one. The idea with this is to open up your shoulder cavity. So find what's right for you. I personally like lifting the fingertips up towards the ceiling. From there, you can bring your palm to the sacrum, forearm resting on the small of the back. Maybe you combined with your left inner thigh. And so then once you feel like, oh yeah, that feels like my best pose for my shoulder opener, then you're going to check in with your breath. Does it hinder the breath? Release that hand, place it back down on the mat, come back to all fours. Let's lift the right, rotate the wrist a few times in one direction. and a few times in the other, and then needle it through. Right ear on the mat this time. Now you can keep that left arm down on the mat, reaching towards mirror wall, or fingertips lifting up, palm to sacrum, forearm resting on the small of the back, binding with the right inner thigh. And breathe. Gently release. Bring that left hand back to the mat. Come back to all fours. Let's bring that right foot forward in between the hands. Knee is in line with ankle. Left forearm on right quad. Right hand to sacrum. I hinge forward. My gaze is towards that gym wall. Maybe this is where you're going to stay. To go deeper into the pose, the elbow comes out to the outside of that leg. Hands coming into prayer adds on a balance factor. And then see how it feels to line the elbows up with each other, shoulders with each other, maybe lifting the abdomen off of that quad. Those are steps to go deeper into the torso rotation, but it also starts going into the shoulder and hip on that right side. Gently release, bring that right knee back, and that left foot forward. Right forearm on left quad, hand to sacrum. We hinge forward, our gaze is towards the cabinet wall. Maybe that elbow comes to the outside of the leg. Hands can come into prayer. And then line the elbows up with each other, maybe. Shoulders, lift abdomen, equal weight distribution into the hands. Can even add on, once again, just that awareness adds on another depth to the pose. And gently release. Bring that left knee back, and we'll bring the right leg out to the side. Right hand on right leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold, elbow over the ear. It tends to want to fall forward, which adds rotation. So we want to try to keep that back so we get this nice side body opener. And then the other tendency is to flop it, energize it, make it be a little more dynamic. Find the opening in that left lung, breathe into that lung. So then we're going to have this hand. Now you might need to have your hand on the block. I can easily touch the floor, I'm short. Tee up the arms, and maybe you can lift that right leg. This is called modified half moon. Did anybody see the moon this morning or last night? You gotta look tonight. It's supposed to be it tonight, people. Oh, it was so gorgeous this morning. I had to interject that, sorry. Lower that right foot, reach to the right fingertips and come on up. Bring that right. I am not the typical yoga instructor, I'm sorry. You don't have to be super quiet in my class. Extend that left leg. Inhale left. Exhale fold. Elbow over the ear. And breathe. Arm is energized. Feel that breath going into that right lung.
Can I get a count, please?
Reach to the top arm, hand coming down, tee out the arms, and then maybe lift the left leg. Lower the left leg, reach the left fingertips, come on up. Bring that left knee in. Bring that right foot forward again, but this time instead of right between the hands, bring it a full step in front of your hands. We're coming up into that low lunge first, and then side body long, lengthen the arms, leaning into this front leg, and then think of pushing this quad back, tuck the cheek under. If it feels good to add a back bend, add it. If arms overhead does not feel good on your shoulders, place them on your quad, but just still think of this chest opening. This is a form of pigeon pose. And lowering the arms, shift your weight back, coming on that front heel. And if you're tight in the hamstrings, you can glide down that leg and just find where you can go to. Otherwise, hinging, abdomen is close to quad. Hands can rest on your shin, on blocks, or your mat. Once you're in that forward fold, tuck your chin and think of the crown reaching towards the toes. This is an intense hamstring opener, in case you didn't know. If you need to bend that front right knee a little bit, it's okay. Ease into it. And then we'll bring that right knee back and that left foot forward. So remember, it's going a full step in front of your hands from all fours. That protects your knee. Side body long, lengthen, leaning into the front leg, quad pressing back, tuck the cheek under, adding the back bend, the ribs lifting off the pelvis. Breathe. Lower the arms, shift your weight back, coming on that front heel and gliding or hinging. Abdomen is close to quad. Find the placement for your hands and then tuck your chin. Crown reaching towards toes. Find the breath. Let's bring that left knee back. Find ourselves back on all fours. We're going to come into our first downward dog. Curl the toes under, lift the hips high. Find your first downward dog. So I concentrate on my sit bones lifting towards ceiling. Feel that added opening in my hamstrings. Then check all 10 finger pads equally pressing down into your mat. Energizing those arms. Check in that the shoulders are away from the ears. Hug them in center instead, and then think of lengthening the torso, ribs lifting off the pelvis. Lower just your right heel down, feel that calf stretch. Lift the right and lower the left. And let's pedal those feet out a little bit. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if it's available, lowering both heels down. Do the best you can. Downward dog stretches the entire posterior side of the body. If you get fatigued or dizzy in this or any other pose, always feel free to bring your knees down, move in a child's pose. We'll go ahead, bend the knees, bring the gaze forward, walk your feet towards your hands, and then hand to elbow, finding a forward fold. So this is where I like us to just get acquainted with the four corners of the feet, equal weight distribution. So think of the ball of the foot, big toe, pinky toe, inner and outer heel. Find the perfect bend in your knees. I always recommend at least a micro bend. And then let's just gently sway the arms side to side. Feel how that aids in opening up the hamstrings and hips. Nice rocking through the spine, and a different kind of way to stretch the shoulders with those heavy arms. And then bringing it center, release the arms, bend the knees, and let's roll on up. Head is the last to lift. We'll roll the shoulders back. And we're ready for our standing postures. So I'm just going to change where the camera is at. And we're going to do our warrior poses first. We'll start with the right toes facing the mirror wall. And then the left toes are facing the cabinet wall. My right heel is in line with my left arch. And hands on hips, we're in a fairly wide stance. Hands on hips, the hips are facing that cabinet wall. There we go. Float the arms up to 9 and 3. Bend your right knee. Find your lunge that's appropriate for you. And it is warrior 2. So here's the deal. The knee tends to want to fall in So think of it using your adductors to push them out. You should be able to see your toes. If the knees pass your toes, that means your stance is too short. Take a step forward and find the depth of pose that's perfect for you today. The deeper you go, the more strength you're gonna have going on here, but it has to feel comfortable, right? And then this back leg, try to keep it as straight as possible. Think of that quad pressing into that hip socket, tuck the cheek under. Arms are energized, reaching away from each other. Gaze is over that right hand. And of course, the shoulders are down the back, right? Of course they are. Straighten that right leg, lower the arms. Right toe faces cabinet wall, left toe faces back wall. Float the arms up to 9 and 3, bend that left knee, find warrior 2 on this side. So that knee's gently pressing out. You're finding the depth of lunge that you want. You can see your toes, the front right quad pressing into that hip socket. Find your breath. Good crap. Straighten that left leg, lower the arms. Left toes face cabinet wall, right toes face mirror wall. Let's have left hand on left leg, float the right arm up, palm up. Bend that right knee. First reach towards the mirror wall and then find your side bend. This is called reverse warrior. So elbows over the ear. You can have feather-like touch in that back leg, or forearm can come to the small of the back. I like adding that on because it makes me use my core more. Not relying on my hand to steady me. I'm pulling my belly button in, lifting up on the pelvic floor, and I even think of squeezing my oblique center. Reaching through that top arm, straightening that right leg, lower that right arm down. Right toes face cabinet wall, left toes face back wall. Right hand on right leg, float the left arm up, palm up, bend that left knee. First reach towards the back wall, and then find your side bend. Elbow over the ear. Breathe. And then either keeping that right hand feather-like touch on the leg or forearm coming to the small of the back. And breathe. Reaching through that top arm, straightening that left leg, lower those arms down. Let's have the left toes initially facing the cabinet wall, right toes facing mirror wall. I'm going to take the left toes and I'm going to turn them in a 45-degree angle. Just that slight little turn in the foot allows the hips to rotate forward without going into our lower back. Bend that right knee, energize the arms, and there's our warrior 1. I'm going to add eagle arms to this, tee out the arms, and right arm. So by the way, it's the same leg that's in front, okay? Right arm comes under left, and maybe your palms can touch. If they can't, can you have the top of the hands touch? If that doesn't feel effective, grab opposite shoulders. The idea is to open up chest and upper back. If you're in that traditional eagle arms, think of bringing the elbow to shoulder height, and now maybe press those forearms towards the mirror wall, adding that opening. Feel that spiral effect coming up that back leg. Straightening that right leg, release the arms and lower. Right toes initially facing cabinet wall, left toes facing back wall. Then take those right toes and turn it in a 45-degree angle. Place your hands on hips. I just like doing that extra step so I can feel that my hips are facing that back wall. That's the direction they're supposed to be in. Energize those arms, reach them towards the ceiling first. And you feel free to stay with the traditional warrior one if you'd like, otherwise adding on the eagle arms. Tee out the arms, left arm goes underneath the right. So just look at the leg that's in front. Elbows lifting shoulder height, and maybe press towards that back wall, adding a little more depth to the opening in the shoulders and upper back. Straighten that left leg, release the arms and lower. Let's have the toes facing the cabinet wall in this wide stance. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, bring the gaze up, and exhale, folding forward. Wide angle, standing forward bend, and then adding what they call chest expansion. Fingertips reaching towards the ceiling, and maybe past ceiling towards cabinet wall, depending on the flexibility during the course. Check into the four corners of the feet. Feel how that can engage the opening of those inner thighs a little bit better. And using those arms to help lift you back up. It's expanding. And we'll bring our left foot to meet our right at the top of our mat. And breath center. Awesome. All right, so now we're going to have our left toes facing the mirror wall, and the right toes are going to face the gym wall. Slight change. Now our heels are going to be in line with each other, and the hands on the hips. The hips should now be facing that gym wall. And we're going to do our triangle poses. And so the triangle, I just do one little added step to ease into it to protect the lower back. Warrior one and triangle can tweak it a little bit. So we just do an extra step. Float the arms up to 9 and 3. Shift the right hip to back wall. Reach to the mirror wall. Windmill the arms. Just see where that hand lands. This is our lateral flexion of the pose. Now, how does that feel on your back? If there's any twinging at all, bend this front knee. That's way out of it, okay? Second part of the pose is coming into this hip. So I always just kind of check out what's going on with my knee. Can it turn a little bit more towards the mirror wall? And I might be able to sink into that hip a little bit more. And then the third part of triangle is bringing the gaze up to that outstretched hand. Depending on what you've done today, or if you fell off your pillow last night, right? You might have a little crick in the neck. That might not feel good. Don't force it. Do what feels right. Listen to your breath. Now, if you think about it, when do you get in this position? Not very often. So we go slowly out of this pose. Reach for the fingertips, slowly come out. Lower the arms down. Let's have the left toes face the gym. Right toes face the back wall. Float the arms up to 9 and 3. Shift the left hip to mirror. Reach the back wall. Windmill the arms. See where the hand lands. Don't expect this side to be exactly the same, right? Sink into that hip if you've got that availability. See about bringing the gaze up if that feels okay on this side. And breathe. Slowly coming up out of that pose, reaching for the top fingertips, slowly coming out. Lower the arms down. Right toes face the gym, left toes face the mirror wall. Let's bend the left knee, forearm resting on the quad, and now that right arm comes overhead. And this is called standing lateral bend. Great option for triangle if you're not feeling good in triangle. Always feel free to do that. All right, so we're going to add on a little core exercise here. Remember we were talking about pull belly button in, lift on pelvic floor, squeeze those obliques, and with your next exhale, float the bottom arm up and pretend you got a beach ball between those hands. 3 breaths. Reaching through the top arm, I'm going to straighten the front left leg, right hand on right leg, flip the left arm up, and it is reverse triangle. Gaze is up if that's okay. Reach the top fingertips and come back down. Let's have the Left toes face the gym, right toes face the back wall, bend the right knee, forearm resting, and left arm overhead, elbow over the ear. Getting organized in that torso with your next exhale, float the bottom arm up, and you've got a beach ball between those hands. 3 breaths. Reaching through the top arm, I'm straightening the right leg, left hand on left leg, float the right arm up, reverse triangle. Reaching through the top fingertips, lower back down. Okay, last but not least, let's have the right toes face the gym, left toes face the mirror, bend this front knee, forearm resting, bring the arm overhead. So we're back in standing lateral bend. I'm gonna face the same direction as you because we're gonna add on that shoulder opener, kind of like we did in the beginning of practice, that needling effect, right? By the way, feel free to stay here or any of the pathways along the way, right? Fingertips reaching up towards ceiling maybe. Palm to sacrum. Forearm resting on the small of the back. Binding with your left inner thigh. I'm only showing this next option because I know some of you can do it. It is a little bit, it's not a little, it is advanced, okay? This is gentle yoga, so don't feel like you're being forced to do it, but if you want to try it, go for it. So this left hand can come on a block or your mat, and then the left arm comes under and binds with the right, interlock or double bind. I'm staying with the intermediate pose to encourage you to be where you need to be, okay? And then gently release, inhale left, exhale lower. Left toes face the gym, right toes face the back wall. Bend that right knee, forearm resting on the quad, left arm overhead, standing lateral bend. Feel free to stay here. Adding on, fingertips lifting up towards ceiling, palm to sacrum, forearm resting on the small of the back or binding with the right inner thigh. Right hand coming down on the mat. Left, and it then goes under the leg and binds with the left. The right binds with the left. And then gently release. Inhale, left to standing. Exhale, lower the arms. Toes face the gym wall, and we're going to add rotation with our forward fold on this side. Big inhale, exhale, fold forwards, center to start, okay? And then kind of walk the hands over towards that left leg. And then that right hand can grasp anywhere along that shin, ankle area if you'd like. Adding the left arm up, the gaze follows it, maybe. And then that hand can gently, just a gentle pull or tug. Right hand on left leg. Lower that left arm, walk over to the right leg. Left hand grasps on that right leg, right arm lifts. Maybe the gaze follows it, maybe not. Lower that right arm or coming back center. If you have lower back issues, I recommend you bend your knees when you lift. Otherwise, lift those arms wide to come back standing. Lower the arms and bring your left foot to your right at the foot of your mat. And then we'll turn and face forward. And we're ready for our balance pose. All right. So if you are unsure of your balance, please feel free to go to a wall. Just having a fingertip on the wall is a nice little security blanket, you know. But the tools that help us is finding that drishti, that focal point, Remember our bandhas, that's the Sanskrit word for locks. Been talking about it all class, right? Belly button in, pelvic floor. I throw in the obliques. All right. We did eagle arms, so we gotta do eagle tonight, okay? So let's have weight on that left leg. Bring that right leg out. Tee out the arms. Right goes under left. Find whatever eagle arms is appropriate for you. Now, find your focal point and bring your right leg and cross it around. Now, if you need to have big toe touching and have the majority of the weight on that left leg, that is an option. Otherwise, you're trying to wrap it. Sometimes I get my foot around the calf, sometimes I don't. I bend my knees, whoops. Squeeze inner thighs, lift elbows shoulder height. Place the right foot down in the crossed position. Keep the eagle arms if you can. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward, and notice the increased stretch in your left shoulder. That's why we do it. Release the arms, hang like a rag doll. Now take notice of the increased stretch in your right hip and your left hamstring. Lift the arms wide to come back standing. Exhale, lower the arms, uncross the legs. Let's try eagle on the other side. Weight on the right leg, left toe out, tee up the arms. So it's left arm comes under right. Find eagle arms first, find your drishti, your focal point, and then wrap the leg. Oh, I just got a little cramp. Not a good time. And bend the knee, squeeze inner thighs, elbows coming shoulder height. Place that left foot down in the cross position. Inhale here and exhale, fold. Now take notice of the increased stretch in the right shoulder. Release the hands, hang like a rag doll. Now take notice of the increased stretch in the left hip, right hamstring. And then let's lift those arms wide to come back standing. Lower the arms, uncross the legs. Right center. Great job, guys. So now with parallel feet, let's do our forward fold. Big inhale. Exhale, fold. Standing, forward, bend. Bend your knees a lot so you feel your abdomen resting on your quads. And then bring hand to elbow behind the legs so that the forearms are resting on your calves or so. And then just with your next exhale, slowly try to straighten the legs a little bit. Feel that new edge, that new opening in the hamstrings. But once again, kind of did a theme today, right? Upper back, chest, shoulders. Nice opening in that area today. And then let's release the arms, bring your knees down, come down on your mat for child's pose. Lots of options for child's pose. I like having my knees wide on the mat. You might like having them close together, but the sit bones should be reaching towards the heels. See what it feels like to have the forehead directly on the mat. If that bothers the neck, you can stack your hands. You can also use a block. Options with arms, also palms up on either side of the body or palms down, reaching overhead. I was trained to call this devotional, but it is a form of child's pose. The idea is to feel pretty relaxed in this pose, okay? Get reacquainted with the breath. And then we're going to come to all fours. And we did this on Monday as well, but you know me, I always add a little variation. It's just so much that goes on to this exercise. First of all, because we're on our knees, if you need to create cushion for those knees, feel free to do that. And then lift the right arm, and then lift the left leg. And so I'd like you to think about those limbs reaching away from each other. And then think of balancing out the hips, like you got a glass of water on your sacrum. So we don't let the cheek hike up or droop down, right? And then just pay attention to the limbs that are holding you up, the strength that's going on there. Lower those limbs down. Lift the left arm and the right leg, and we reach away. And then we balance the hips, and then we check in with the strength and the core that's involved with holding. Lower back down. Lift the breath, lift right arm, left leg, and lower back down. So I use an inhale as I lift, and an exhale as I lower, but you might like reversing that if you're having trouble with the balance. Okay? And then see if you can take notice of the muscles that follow the spine. They contract when you do this. That's why they call this a back exercise. But it's also our gait. It's the way we walk. As our right arm swings forward, our left leg should be coming forward and vice versa. Let's do it one more on each side. All right. And let's find that back stretch, that devotional, sit bones reaching back, fingertips reaching forward. And then come back to all fours. So we're going to do that quad opener, but I always give you options, right? We're just going to go step by step and you see what you can do. Right arm, left leg, bend the left knee. Now maybe you're going to stay here, or maybe that right arm's going to come back. I let my gaze follow it, grab hold of that opposite foot, and then maybe foot presses into hand. That's the final step. So oblique, but quad, whole bunch going on, right? Feel it in the arm, shoulder, chest. And we're gently going to release and try to do the same on the other side. It'll be different on the other side. It's all good, right? Left arm, right leg, bend the knee. Maybe you stay here. Left arm coming back, my gaze follows. I try to grab that foot. Maybe that foot pushes into the hand. Is one side different than the other? Mine is. Gently release and find devotion again. Sit bones reaching back, fingertips reaching forward. And then let's come onto our abdomen with the right ear down on the mat. And this is designed to be a neck stretch, but it might be too intense for you. If it is, forearm can come underneath the ear. See how that goes. And it still doesn't feel right, then stack your hands and have your forehead on stacked hands. I don't know what neck issues you might have, and I don't want you to force it, okay? Listen to your body, listen to your breath. I always try to give you options. And switch sides. And then chin on the mat, Hands directly underneath the shoulders. Cobra pose is another back exercise. Zip those legs together, shoulders down the back. Now, hover the hands an inch or two off the mat, reaching through the crown of the head. Try not to use your chin and lift the chest as best you can. It's not a big movement. That's back extension. And then once you're there, think about squeezing the shoulder blades a little bit closer together. Lift that sternum a fraction of an inch more if you can. Cobra pose. Belly button in, pelvis pushing down to your mat. Lower the right ear down on the mat, palms are up. Chin on the mat. We're coming into bow pose. If you have lower back issues, I recommend you stay with the modification that I'm starting with, okay? Bend both knees, bottoms of the feet facing the ceiling. And we're going to lift the chest, energize the arms, lift the knees. That's modified bow. If you can comfortably grab feet or ankles, come into full bow. And maybe the feet can press into hands, maybe not. Find your breath, don't force. Gently release. First, finish the neck stretch, guys. We'll get the back. Left ear on the mat. And then press back in devotional. Stretch out the spine. We're going to come on our back to do open up our hips. I did pigeon pose series on Monday. If you take my class a lot, you know I alternate that. Because a lot of people have trouble with pigeon, sleeping pigeon, half pigeon. If you really came thinking, oh, I want to do pigeon, do it. It's okay with me, okay? You won't insult me. I want you to do what's right for your body. Otherwise, if you're following me, you're coming on your back, and I'd like you to hug your right knee into your chest, which will feel really good after bow pose. That is a classic lower back stretch, but also get the hamstrings, glutes. And then place that right foot on your thigh, think pinky edge of the foot, and it creates a figure 4. And then you're thinking of gently pressing that knee down towards your mat. So this gets that same area in your hip that you get with that half pigeon and sleeping pigeon. So feel how that starts opening up that hip. That's your piriformis muscle in there. And then from here, we're going to lift the legs up in the air if that feels good. Interlace the arms through the legs, or I should say needle the arms through the legs, and then interlace your fingers against the hamstring of the straight leg. Now, if you can get your elbow on the inner thigh of the bent leg, that'll add a little more depth to the opening. Think a gentle pressure, straight leg towards you, and with that elbow, gentle pressure, bent leg away from you, and you get all kinds of opening going on there. Gently release, bring your left knee into your chest, lower your right leg down. Left foot on right thigh, pinky edge of the foot, right? And then that knee gently pressing down towards your mat for figure 4 supine. And you can do figure 4 sitting in a chair. You could do it standing, right? A lot of cycle classes, you do this. It's the same area. And then we're going to lift the legs up in the air, needle those arms through, interlace against hamstring,
elbow on inner thigh, gentle pressure, straight leg towards you, gentle pressure, bent leg away from you. Gently release. Let's bring the feet down to the floor and let's come into bridge pose. Feet are parallel there. We've got equal weight distribution on the feet, equal weight distribution on the shoulder blades, pressing down into your mat. Take an inhale and exhale. Peel your spine up and find bridge. So arms can be at your side on the mat. If you want to go just a little deeper in the pose, I interlace my fingers underneath my body, and then I just do a one-time shift from each shoulder rocking under me, and all that does, it lifts up, maybe 2 or 3 more thoracic vertebrae off. I go a little just a deeper into the pose, if that feels good. Arms are energized towards my heels, pelvis is pressing up, and then think of the knees reaching away. But it's got a yoga block between the knees, so don't let them splay out too much. Breathe. Bridge pose, opening up the whole front side of your body. Release the arms, roll the spine down. Bring those knees into your chest, give them a hug. We're going to come into a spinal twist. Let's find what's right for your body. If you know you've got lower back issues, I recommend you start with your feet on the floor. Intermediate, you're not quite sure, tabletop. If you know you're very flexible, you can bring your knees in towards the chest, okay? So whatever feels right for you. Tee out the arms, let the knees float over to the right side. Keep your left shoulder blade down, and then turn your head away from your knees, and then think about reaching through the fingertips. And the thing I love about yoga is just bringing that awareness, reaching through those fingertips. Feel how that adds to the stretch, to the opening, right? Opening up the chest and shoulder, feel it go down the spine and waist, and then maybe even into the hip, down the side of the leg. A little more than just a spinal twist, right? Inhale, bring the knees center, and exhale, let them float over to the other side. Going to the left, I'm keeping my right shoulder blade down, and I'm going to turn my head away from the knees, and then bring that awareness into reaching through the fingertips. Inhale, bring the knees center. Let's find happy baby pose. Lots of options depending on your flexibility. If you're pretty tight, you might need to just go right around the hamstrings, grab inner thighs, sacrum presses down, let the knees float wide. You might be able to grab shin, ankle. If you're able to get the pinky edge of your foot, go for it. I do have my knees bent. I'm pressing my sacrum down, and then the knees float to whatever opening you've got. And try to get a balanced hip opener here. Bottoms of the feet touch. Lower them down to your mat for supine cobbler's pose. Hands resting on the inner thighs, coaxing those adductors to just kind of melt. Make sure the back isn't arching, the ribs aren't flaring. Hands coming to the outside of the legs. Let's guide those knees together to touch, like closing a book. And we're ready for Shavasana, relaxation. If you prefer to have those knees bent, feel free to do so. I'm going to lengthen my legs. I like my palms up, and I'm going to find that breath again. In through the nose, out through the nose. Try to have that breath be effortless at this part of the practice. And imagine that you're able to direct that oxygen as it enters your body to flow down to your toes, the balls of your feet, the arches, the heels, the ankles. Let the feet fall heavy. Allow the oxygen to flow into your calves and shins, knees, quads, hamstrings. Let the legs fall heavy. Allow the oxygen to flow into the glutes, the small of your back. Your lats spreading wide as the shoulders begin to release. Any tension in the abdomen subsiding as the chest opens and the shoulders just let go. Allow the oxygen to flow into the biceps and triceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, and into each fingertip. And allow the oxygen to flow up the back of the neck, around the skull to your brow, with soft eyes, heavy jaw, soft throat. Allow your body to bathe in that oxygen. Let it cleanse you. Almost sense that oxygen nourishing every cell of your body. Let it restore you. And allow the oxygen to linger in areas of concern. Let it begin the healing process. And just take notice how peaceful and relaxed you feel. And know that you got here just by recognizing your own personal breath. This is a tool you can use anytime you feel stressed. It really works, guys. And another wonderful tool, let's bring to mind that person we started our practice with. We are so grateful to have this person in our life. Cherish this person and commit to taking some time, whether it's one of your first few thoughts of the day, to choose to be grateful. Changes your whole attitude. At last virtual class, I kind of went back to some of my food for thought that I say, and I'm going back to one I said before. It's a really good one. One day at a time, this is enough. Do not look back and grieve over the past, for it is gone. And do not be troubled about the future, for it is yet to come. Live in the present and make it so beautiful that it will be worth remembering. With your next breath, wiggling fingers and toes, bringing awareness back to your body. And with your next breath, bring your knees into your chest, give them a hug. And allow the knees to drop to one side. And slowly come up into a comfortable seated position with your hands at your heart center. And the greeting in India, short translation. The love me salutes and I love each and thanks so much, guys. Beautiful practice tonight. And I'm so sad.
Pam, are we still muted?
Yeah,
Pam, listen, I've been in
no,
touch.
you're, I can hear you.
Okay, this is Courtney. Hey, everybody, I sent you a message. I've been in touch with Mary Colton, who is Todd's boss. She's the head of Parker Park and Rec. And I'm
Okay.
still trying through any messages, talking with her, emails, to ask them to try to continue these virtual classes, especially for those of us who have immunosuppressive issues. I'm 80 years
Yes.
old. It's hard not only to
I
be in
know,
crowds,
Courtney.
but driving, especially after dark, for a lot of us is very difficult.
Mhm.
So if you want to, fellow yoga mates here, get in touch with Mary. And she's very nice. She will talk to you. And I think the more we can work to try to get this reinstituted. I mean, I love the idea of the YouTube classes, but it's not the same. We need Pam in person.
I know.
All right, sweetie. Thanks, everybody. Love you.
Well, I need you in person too. I love you
I know.
too.
Thank you, Pam.
And
You're
I've
the
never met
best.
you, Courtney.
I know,
Except
but
for
you're
this,
good.
I've never seen you in person. I would love to sit and
No.
have coffee
Well,
with
I'll
you.
come. I will come. I will try to get to some live classes. I really will. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
All
everybody.
right.
Thanks,
All right.
Pam.
Love you. Okay. Have a great night, guys. And I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do it. Okay.
You have a wonderful class. I understand why they.
I mean, it's been since COVID.
I just,
Yeah.
it's weird